Welcome everyone to episode 112 of Raw Sport. My name is Ahmed Al Houli, and today we have another very special guest with us, Australia's heavyweight hope, Mr. Kris Terzievski. There we go.
Nailed it, bro. Nailed it.
How are you, mate? How's things?
Good, brother. Good. Fight week. I'm feeling good. Ready to go. How are you?
Good, mate. Solid as. Kris, I mean, the last, let's say, what is it? 5 months, 6 months have been very, very interesting on your behalf. You were meant to fight former UFC legend, or not legend, former UFC fighter Tyson Pedro, and both times things are falling out. What's going on?
Yeah, bro. Look, it's probably been 12 months to be fair. It was a wild ride, man. We started off, I think, at the start of last year in 2024. My manager and promoter Brian Matruda hit me up, I think around February, saying would you be interested in fighting Tyson Pedro? It's for a WBC international belt in the Bridgeweight division. Big payday, biggest payday I would ever receive. And we were looking to have a fight in March then, and they said this fight will be in June on Stan Sports pay-per-view. Danny Green's promoting it, so I was like, sign me up, man. You know, we won't risk the fight in March. Let's get ready for June. And I was getting ready for that, man, and training was going really well, and he ended up hurting his elbow in preparation, probably like 3 weeks out from the fight. So like I was coming close to peaking, man, did all this work, and then they sort of strung me along. They kept saying it'll be August, it'll be, September. And then we finally got to November 22nd. And again, because they kept stringing me like that, I didn't have any activity. I was like, wait for this date, wait for that date. And I wanted to fight. And they said, no, hold off. And then everything sort of changed. Danny Green dipped out, and it was more like just a Pedro self-promotion in Penrith in his hometown. It wasn't pay-per-view anymore. And yeah, man, we went all the way up to Sydney again, prepared, got everything right. And, these guys stuffed around with a contract. It turns out like we were never getting paid. And like I've said previously, man, I was just blessed. I got a good corner, a good team. My coach, Ray Giles, as we both know, very wise man, and has been around the block more than a few times. So he just said, no, we're not falling for this shit. We're getting out of here. And it was probably more colourful than that, how he put it. But yeah, man, we took off, and they sort of slandered my name, said I went running the day of the fight. Like I was saying, who prepares for a whole year to on the day of say, no, I'm not going to fight now for no reason. So, and then funnily enough, man, we fought in February this year. He fought 3 days before me. And then as I was fighting, I just won my fight. We both won. And my phone's blowing up from his opponent saying, brother, can you please help me? I haven't been paid. He was from Pakistan, I believe. And they copped a whole heap of flack, man, for that. And I don't know how that it sort of got hushed up. I heard a few people didn't get paid on that show. And Stan picked it up again. They thought, look, there's a bit of movement behind this one on this big card now that's coming up this week. Paul Gallen and Sonny Bill were the co-main. And then, 5 weeks out from this fight, he's pulled the pin again, bro.
Wow. Quite the roller coaster, really, when you think about it. Kris, I want to sit in your shoes for a moment now. This would have been the biggest payday. You go to Sydney, you jump back on a flight home, then you get lined up, do the media again for another bout with Pedro. Mentally, how is this impacting you?
Yeah, bro, it was tough. The second time when I decided to leave Sydney, it was a massive kick in the guts, man. Like all this preparation I put into, and through no fault of my own, I got rolled. And then to even have Stan run with, the next promotion I had with him, they captioned it nowhere to run. like I went running. You know what I mean? And like I said, I was there ready to go every single time. I thought that was a bit of bullshit, and mentally it stuffed me a little bit. But I just tried to have faith in just everything, you know, like the process, my team, God, everything. And I was like, things happen for a reason. And then the way I G'd myself up for this one was, it was a blessing that I didn't fight, because it was shit circumstances. Probably wouldn't have got paid. And then,
well, his opponent did not get paid in the last fight. So
correct. So then I'm like, here we go. It's worked out on an even bigger platform with Sonny Bill Williams and Gallen. I get to finally, you know, get my payback and my revenge. So again, I was pumped again, and took myself to dark places again in this camp, and then he stuffed me again, bro. So it is what it is, man. I was saying I almost manifested it in my last fight in February. After I won, I said respectfully, I'd like to fight a guy by the name of Troy Pilcher. I said, I think he's a good opponent. He's a good guy. And I think it'll be a really good fight. We're both world-rated fighters. And I said, not so respectfully, I'd like to smash Tyson Pedro. And you know, they both sort of came about. It was Pedro, and now he's pulled the pin, and here's Troy Pilcher. So I made it happen in a way.
Could we see, God willing, you go on and win? Could we see you fight the winner of Sonny Bill and Gallen?
Nah, no way. Those boys. Look, I hurt Paul Gallen pretty bad in the fight when I fought him, Australian title, and there's not a chance he would want to fight me again. And especially the way I've grown from that fight, the way he's aged after that fight, he would never ever fight me. And I think the people that look after Sonny Bill, I met him when we went and had our press conference. He's a real gentleman and a nice guy, but the people that are looking after him would never ever want to fight me either.
That's Dry's camp, right? Dry up Ty's camp.
That's who he's been training with for this fight. But I just think, just his whole management team, everything, they wouldn't want to fight me. No way.
All right. Talk to us about this whole bridgerweight division that's now in the sport and trying to be pushed across the world, really, not just in Australia. How do you see the future of this division? I mean, is it viable in the long term?
Look, man, for me, it's a great division. Like, I've always floated around that. It's 91 kilos to 101 kilos is the division, and I've walked around at the top end of that weight. You know, 101, 102, 103. So I've been fighting these big guys at heavyweight, and you know, like obviously Usyk now is a exception to the rule, but there was these monsters. You know, Deontay Wilder 6'7", AJ's, your Furies. It was that next generation of these monster super heavyweights, if you will, and I know, like, there was heaps of criticism when even the cruiserweight division came in. Everyone's like, what's this division? And now there's some of the biggest names in that division. So it's a tough one, man. I know when they were talking about bringing in the bridgerweight division, they were looking at either potentially putting in a division in between light heavy and cruiser, because that's a massive gap as well. They're going to do 85 kilo, and they opted for the bridgerweight. So for me, it's great. I think it's great. You know, you look at all these lighter divisions, man, that are separated by a couple of kilos. People can be multiple weight world champions, whereas you don't really get that from light heavy up. Whereas, you know, there's only a few people that have been able to do it. Whereas, you know, you could potentially be a 2-weight or 3-weight world champion, cruiser, bridger, heavy. You know, I think it adds that excitement.
What freaks me out is that everybody loves watching the bigger boys, but the cruiserweight division and this bridgerweight just doesn't get the numbers that these other weights get, because big boys going at it's always exciting. Like, it's never a dull moment, but it just hasn't been able to really take off.
Yeah, man, it's a strange one. I don't know. I think in the cruiserweight division too, like, there's a lot of these Eastern Europeans that, you know, they're not big talkers and stuff like that. So, you know, the skill level's so high, but marketable wise, maybe there's not as many people to market. But, you know, like, obviously I'm biased. I pay a lot of attention to these bigger guys. So You know, we've got our Jai in the mix now. Obviously, Usyk came up from cruiserweight division. There's a few big guys in the UK. So, man, I think it's got potential. And obviously, Jake Paul is around that division now. So, for the casuals, he might bring a bit more attention to it. But, yeah, I think it's going to take, especially for Bridgerweight, like a big name to sort of maybe drop. Like you could see a Deontay Wilder floating around there to maybe try and, you know, pick up another world title to drop back into that, or, you know, something like that, or like, yeah.
I think Jake Paul's enough if he comes in and sort of gets. Well, the WBA has given him a top 15 ranking. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, look, man, I think these governing bodies, like, you know, Tyson Pedro, my old mate, he had one fight and he was top 15 in the WBC. Sometimes, you know, like these governing bodies, if you've got a bit of a name and you can bring eyeballs, they'll be a bit more lenient. Like Francis Ngannou was in the top 10 from a loss to Fury. So it's wild, bro. But ultimately, like, if they can give fighters an opportunity for a payday, for a platform, like, you know, bring it on. Like we were talking about earlier, man, this sport's hard enough as it is. So any opportunity for the fighters, I'm for.
Absolutely. How do you see the future of the cruiserweight, heavyweight divisions in Australia? Like, what's it look like? What's it looking like at the moment?
Yeah, man. Obviously, look, Jai is flying the flag for Australia and worldwide. I think he's the best cruiserweight in the world at the minute.
He is.
Yeah.
And who's more popular, Zoo or Apataya?
Yeah, well, you'd have to say Zoo, you know what I mean? Which,
yeah, exactly. Which is crazy, eh?
It's crazy, bro. It's crazy. Like, but, you know, I think in Australia, even like for the amount of good and self-promotion that someone like George Kambosos has done for himself to get himself where he was, Zoo's almost just as big of a name just purely for the people behind him. Like, a lot of the stuff I think Kambosos had to do off his own back. And I know the Tasman boys are doing their best to get Jai more mainstream and well-known, but it's a shame, really, man. Like, I don't know, bro. Like, sometimes I wish we had a bit more of like a UK base. Those guys get behind fighters, and that would be actually a mad buzz to compete in front of a crowd like that with that energy. But
Justis Huni.
Yeah.
He went and fought in Ipswich Town.
Correct.
He fought Fabio Wardley in front of 29,000 people at a soccer stadium.
Yeah, that's insane.
Mate,
that's insane.
The Poms, all they need is two guys go and get it and some beer and it's on. Don't worry, they'll all come.
Yeah. They're passionate too, bro. Like, they get behind their own. Like, I love that about the UK crowd, man. And yeah, obviously, like you just said, Huni, like, bro, he was a few rounds away from winning a version of a world title or whatever it was. So
yeah,
he's definitely got the talent. There's another young kid, that Termoana. He's doing big things. He's on Matchroom's platform. I think he's going to get fast-tracked, man. Like, he's a big puncher. He's got a good personality as well. So we've got some names. We've got some names around.
So you think we're treading well as a nation when it comes to cruiserweights and heavyweights?
We're pretty what, sorry?
Are we treading well? Are we in a good position?
Yeah, I think so, man. I think we've got a couple of us standouts that could do good on the world scene.
Kris, what is the ultimate goal? Like 12 months. Where does Kris want to be?
He wants to be a world champion, WBC world champion in the Bridgerweight division, and then make some big moves from there, whether it's going up to heavyweight again and scoring a big fight. Because I believe once you're a world champion in a Bridgerweight division, to step up to heavyweight, you automatically rank top 5 in the world, I think. So I'll be able to definitely get a massive fight there. Or, you know, I've heard someone like Jai talk about he wants to be 3-weight world champion, unify the belts at cruiser. You know, him and I, world champion versus world champion. You could do a stadium in Brisbane. You know what I mean? Get some. That could be a big fight domestically to spark these big heavyweights. You know what I mean? So that's definitely something I'd be open to and potentially trying to manifest. But I feel like within 2 fights, bro, I can position myself for a world title shot.
What would you say is the biggest constraints that are holding our heavyweights and cruiserweights back from really flourishing?
I think, like you just said, like making it the broadcasters, the promoters, that it's hard to sort of compete. I know, especially from being in Melbourne, Victoria, like AFL is so dominant. These other sports, they take a front seat in terms of just how they're marketed, how they're promoted, even the people. We just need to get, us fighters' stories out there as best we can. And like I said, take a leaf out of these guys from the UK and do our best to pump it up, bro. I think that's tough. Obviously, the pay, you know what I mean? Like, if I know fighters will fight if they get looked after the right way. Like, another quote my coach always says, like, the money's got to be worth the punishment you're taking in this game. So, you don't want to, anyone's going to fight anybody. You're not going to fight monsters for, $5,000 on a show. It just doesn't.
Exactly.
So all these things, it needs to be a bit of a perfect storm, man. And, I'm hoping. I'm not super confident, but yeah, it is what it is.
Kris, the AFL player sits ringside. The NRL player sits ringside. Everyone sits ringside. When there's a fight on, everyone rocks up. Everybody wants to be a part of the entourage, right?
Yeah.
What's holding the sport back, in your opinion? You're a smart guy.
Yeah, look, it's one of them, bro. Like, I'm focusing. I try and do my best, and it's probably something I do need to look into a little bit more. Your focus as a fighter is on fighting and improving and getting better. For me and my passion, it's the technique, it's the art, it's the strategy of fighting that draws me to the sport and wants me to challenge myself to be the best I can be. In terms of the back end stuff, or the media or the promotion, I don't know, man. These guys need to figure it out. Like I said, no disrespect to Stan, we're in the fight week, and there's been no, I'm blessed to have you, bro. Hit me up and we can get and talk and sort of promote the world of boxing. But yeah, man, I think there's a little bit more that can be done in that aspect to sort of get the fighters out there, get them in the public eye, get people invested, bro. That's what I think ultimately, when people are invested in a story, and the UFC do it really, really well. But these guys have got massive, massive budgets. So it's just about putting that money where their mouths are and
making it happen. Really, at home, no limit's the one who does it best, in my opinion, because that there's a fight night. If you're a boxing fan, there's a fight night. The week of the fight, 2 weeks before, there's ads all over social media. Actually, I seen a stand ad this morning, actually, for SBW and Paul Gallen. So that was good to see. They had him on the State of Origin. So I mean, yeah, it's crazy, but hopefully you'll go out there next week and you'll get a very good win, and you'll be on your way to that Bridgerweight Championships. Who was your favorite fighter growing up? Who did you look up to, Kris?
I used to always like the littler guys. I sort of in my teens, man, I loved Manny Pacquiao.
Mm-hmm.
I love watching Manny fight. The speed, the southpaw. Obviously I love southpaws, being a southpaw myself.
The movement.
Yeah, man. Yeah, the movement, just getting his head. Like, his fight against Oscar De La Hoya, man. I couldn't believe how, just how good he performed. And he was a really, he was a big favorite of mine. In terms of heavyweights, I've started studying them a lot more now. Like, I love Usyk now. He's probably one of my favorites at the moment. But for looking at these big men and how they control, like Lennox Lewis was just a beast, bro. Like, throughout the 90s, that was a golden era, I thought, of heavyweight boxing. There's some really, really good fighters coming out of there. But who else do I love? Like, obviously, Roy Jones was another good one, man. But that was just like a freak talent. What a specimen he was.
Really.
Yeah. Manny was definitely a favorite.
Yeah,
What about
absolutely.
you?
Mandy's same. Mandy's my favorite.
Yeah.
Wore all this gear and all when I was younger, obviously. Not now. Now we've got white hairs. Kris, what do you do outside boxing?
I own a gym,
Yeah.
Crew Performance. So I'm in there most days, bro. When I'm not training in here, I'm helping coach and obviously look after the place, making sure it runs smoothly. It's in the northern suburbs in Craigieburn. So yeah, bro, that keeps me on my toes. It's a challenge in itself, juggling the two. But yeah, bro, that's what, and obviously, family man now. I've got a young son. He's 2 years old.
There you go.
So
Good.
yeah, he's helping with the cardio as well, running around chasing him everywhere.
Yeah. All right, Kris, you've been very, very generous with your time. Those that want to get in touch with you, how can they get in touch with you? Online or where?
Yeah, if you just want to jump on my Instagram, which is my normal name, Kris Terzievski. We've also got Crew Fitness and Performance Craigieburn. If you want to jump on our Insta there. And that's pretty much the platforms I use, bro. Yeah.
And where can people watch the fight next week?
Stan Sports, pay-per-view, jump on, man. 2 title belts on the line in my fight. I'm fighting a guy, Troy Pilcher. Obviously, we're the co-main to Sonny Bill and Gallen. So it'll be
time and day?
Wednesday, 16th of July. Card kicks off 6 p.m. It's a stacked undercard as well, man. Plenty of Aussie talent, Olympians, sons of former legends, Mundine and Alex Leopai. So it's a star-studded card, man, and we're co-main to Gallen, Sonny Bill. So it'll be a really good night.
Mr. Kris, I want to thank you very much for joining me on Raw Sport. I want to thank everybody who's tuned in. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Kris. Take care, everyone. Thank you for watching Raw Sport. Take care.
Thank you.